The original version of this video was uploaded to Jason Verney's YouTube channel, where it and many other videos, podcasts, snippets and films can be found. That channel can be found at youtube.com/Jason Verney. Hello, it's Halloween.
And this is the...
So I'm doing that, am I?
No, sorry. Okay.
No. No,
Yeah.
I'll say it's a Not So Korean podcast, and then you say, we have Halloween. Yes, okay.
Just say, this is
it's
for the NoSoKoPo.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween from the Not So. Yes, that's it, and then you can do the next.
Right, okay.
Final one, last one, honest. Hello. Happy Halloween from the Not So Korean podcast.
And these are our Halloween masks.
Yeah, we're not doing proper Halloween masks because we don't have any.
Yeah.
And we're recording the podcast on Halloween. So these are our faces.
But these masks are from Korea.
Yeah.
La Masca, a company who produces sort of high quality masks, face masks in Korea.
Yeah.
We got them a few months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim's actually mentioned these people before. There's a guy he knows in Korea that's made these masks. So we're not promoting them, but we're just wearing them for fun because of Halloween.
And we don't have any real Halloween masks at the moment. Yeah.
No, we're just using our faces.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, they're scary enough. They're scary enough as they are. And if we look a bit skeletal, it's just for Halloween. Yeah, it's we don't usually look like this, of course, right?
That's right. This is the NoSoKoPo with Jay and Tim. I am Jason Verney.
And I am Timothy Home, last time I checked.
Yeah. I think you still are. Yeah, this is the NoSoKoPo. That's the abbreviation. And the Not So Korean podcast series, we talk to one another and sometimes special guests about what we know about Korea.
What we don't know about Korea.
What we want to know about Korea.
And occasionally what we don't want to know about Korea.
Yes, recording live from UK's Koreatown itself. That's an area in and around New Malden. That's the largest Koreatown and Korean community in Europe. We'll start this episode with a quick summary of the last few days and what we've been up to. So, Tim, I know I always ask you, but what have you been up to in the last several days? Korean related, particularly, or?
Well, there have been quite a few things actually, I suppose. Thank you, Jason. Recently, actually, was it today or yesterday? We went to the Environment Center.
Yeah.
In New Malden, which is close to us and just below the high street. Yeah. And they have a little Saturday cafe thing that they open like in the afternoons on Saturdays. But this particular Saturday, which was yesterday, they were starting to prepare for a Halloween party in the evening. And now is Halloween, so but that's not really related to Korea specifically.
No, that's not.
But it is in New Malden, and there were some Korean people there wearing costumes, Halloween costumes, like some kids with their parents. And I was even thinking of asking them, like, what do you think about Halloween? Because it's not really a Korean tradition, right? Yeah. But it seems to be becoming more popular in Korea these days. I've seen some photos online of people going out wearing costumes and things like that.
Yeah. I'll just elaborate on that because I was actually with Tim. I'm not sure if you mentioned, but I think it did. But we were, as Tim just said about it's getting more popular in Korea. Mm-hmm. In fact, you showed some photos of some of your friends who are dressing up in Korea at the moment. Quite
risque, let's say. Yeah. To say the least. I don't know if I should actually call them out. I shouldn't call them out. But they were very, very skimpy outfits they were wearing. And I was just shocked that in Korea these days that would be sort of acceptable outfit to wear, even on Halloween. But I guess, you know, especially in Itaewon, they're a little more liberal than other parts of Korea, maybe, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting what Tim was saying there because, one of the factors, of course, that Halloween is more popular in Korea now, South Korea. Yeah. Of course, we got the American influence as we have in UK, and even in Thailand. I mean, they love Halloween now. It's become this massive thing as Christmas as well. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Sort of doing all that, but that event that we went to was quite weird because we were there. We love. It's just up from where we live, really, and
Kingston Environment Center is the full name. Kingston Environment Center. Yeah.
Yes, we should mention that.
Technically in New Malden, yeah. Yeah,
it is. And basically, we've got to know them a little bit, have a little chuckle with them, but they have a little, they give away free food on Saturdays, basically. And it's kind of a coffee cafe, whatever they call it. And of course, they have plants out the back and... But they were kind of getting these pumpkins ready, and then they said these children are coming, or this girl who has a business. She's 14 years old, I think, and she has lizards and what else did she have?
A bunch of reptiles, Komodo dragons, even apparently. I wanted to see the Komodo dragon because we heard that she's going to bring these reptiles to the center, but of course we didn't want to interrupt the kids from having their fun or whatever. So
because
it sounded like it would be fun.
Yeah, because it was around that time we thought it was kind of an adult, a normal sort of everyone could come, but we realised it was a kids' party. Yeah. So they were telling us to come along between 4 and 8, I think it was going on. The cafe was closing at 4. Yeah. But I think anyway, so it was great. We have mentioned on the podcast before they've held events and they have incorporated some Koreanness with the fan dancing and the stuff.
Yes, and one of the guys there, I forget his name. I'm not sure if he'd want us to mention his name anyway, but
I think I know you mean.
We happened to see him at a Korean restaurant that we went to a week ago, right?
And I don't know if you caught it, but at the end, when we did see him this yesterday, day before Halloween, he did say that day yesterday he's also going back there. So he's actually got a taste.
He really likes that place. Haru is the name of that restaurant.
It's a lovely little restaurant. Yeah,
we could mention that we went there. We went to 2 Korean restaurants in the past week or so. Yeah,
it's not a normal week for us to go to a couple of restaurants, Korean restaurants. We go to other restaurants, but it's not a normal week. But we went to another one, which was, as Tim just briefly mentioned, we went to
went to Haru, and then we went to Gangnam after a few days later. And both are quite nice, but personally I think Gangnam has the more traditional, healthier food, maybe. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know about healthier, but it's definitely my one. I agree. My one was as well. I had a bibimbap and it was a vegan one. I'm not necessarily vegan, but I wanted no meat because I don't eat meat, but also I didn't want the egg, so vegan pretty much. But they did have spring onion on it, and it was a really nice touch.
It's a bit unusual. I don't know if they did that because they always do that, or they ran out of some other ingredient and they substituted spring onions, but it looked good.
Yeah, and in our fridge, in my fridge, where I live, basically have some kimchi, oyster, because it was made with, or maybe you can explain this.
So we had this pogi kimchi, which is oyster kimchi. Yeah. So they actually literally put small oysters inside of the kimchi. Yeah. And I don't know how they prepare it exactly, but it is a little more salty and it tastes like seafood a little bit, but...
And a little bit
that sort of thing, you'll probably really enjoy it.
Yeah, and a little bit more sort of slippery, wet, because it's more fishy, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, but our good friend Justina, who runs KBCE, sorry to keep mentioning that every week, but they are a big part of our community, and so she introduced us to this pogi kimchi. She said it was really highly recommended. She loved it, so we got to take some home after we were there. So, that was a really nice meal. I think, what did I have, actually? I had charolbagi, which is sort of a kind of Korean beef, I believe. Yeah. A bit similar to bulgogi, but they don't put any sauce on it or anything. It's not marinated. And they just had that in a bowl of rice, like a dappap with rice and a little bit of veggies. That was quite nice, too. And then we had a kimchi jun, as well.
Yeah, we were a bit of overdosing on kimchi that day, really.
Yeah, but some people say you can never have enough kimchi, right?
That's right. Yeah,
If you're
yeah.
Korean,
Yeah, Korean definitely not. No. So we're other stuff we've been up to this week. I mean, we've done stuff together. We've done stuff separately. Something that came up from me, but actually it's one of Tim's friends. Is a person who's quite active on Instagram, but she's quite active in general in life. Her name's Maisie, but
Maisie
she
Rose,
was
yes. Okay. Sorry. Well,
Sorry.
yeah. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but yeah, I did.
okay.
I did meet her a few years back in Korea through a mutual friend of ours, Jongchan Lee, or Jonathan Lee, who is also a big fan of this show.
Yeah.
He's always posting comments on our YouTube. Thank you, Jonathan, Jongchan. And so anyway, yeah, we met her, Maisie Rose. We met her recently here in London because now she's living in London, and she was down in Kingston doing some work. We live, of course, near or in Kingston, technically. And so we're going to we recorded that actually a few weeks ago, that interview, but we haven't had time to release it yet because we've had so many things coming up, festivals and all sorts of things going on. But we hope to release that interview maybe soon, maybe in November sometime.
We just to continue with that, we are hoping to release that in our next episode. So if Maisie are listening, and you probably will be when we tell you this is available, we will have your interview on the next episode, unless something else comes up, but that's what the plan is. But just to go back to the original story, basically I was actually away for a few days by the sea, just getting away. I've had a lot going on, and but I did go on the internet a little bit, and I did go onto Instagram, and there was Maisie, and she was all dressed. She did a live stream on Instagram which lasted about 15 minutes, and she was all dressed up in the Squid Game costume, which we of course mentioned.
The prison guards, or I don't know if it's called a prison or not, but with the sort of pinky reddish outfit with the hood and the mask with a square on it. She had bought this costume from Amazon like a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, and it took a while to arrive because obviously everyone wants these costumes now for Halloween. It's one of the most popular items apparently. So I actually thought, I did wonder. She said on the live stream, which we'll give you some links for her stuff, because she's really into Korean stuff. She speaks Korean. She's lived in Korea. But what I was going to say was, I did wonder, because she mentioned on her live stream it took ages to arrive. I wondered if it was from Amazon Korea, but maybe it was from Amazon UK. What do you think? It could have been like a seller on Amazon UK, but they might actually ship it from Korea or even like China or something. I think they're producing them just to make a buck off the popularity of the show,
Yeah, but it did look good, and I got on there, said hello, live stream. A few people sort of tuning in, and of course she started talking about our podcast, which we were very grateful for, and she mentioned us a few times, because she's known Tim a while for a start, and we interviewed her. But we really can't wait to get that interview out to you. But it was really funny what she was doing, what she was saying. She was doing impersonations from the program, I think, and things.
She's funny, a very nice person, and I don't think we actually mentioned what she does, but she does several different things. Like modeling, and she does video work. She's done like directing music videos and all kinds of fashion stuff, and
the Instagram.
So she also has a meme thing called,
it's quite unique,
Waegugins. Waegugin means foreigner in Korean, and so it's like a bunch of memes about like funny things about life living in Korea or Korea related situations and things.
She's got that. She's also got some video related stuff, MD video, and of course her individual Instagram, but we're not promoting her here. We're just letting you know because she's our next guest, and we're really grateful for her taking part in an interview. And she does so much to promote Korean culture in general, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's a really cool person,
Yeah. So we're kind of sort of rush along a bit here because our main topic of the show is Korean film, which we've kind of hinted at. If you're listening to this podcast via audio on Spotify or Apple's podcast or whatever, you won't see. But we've got this crazy setup this time. We've been doing this for a few months now, and we've gone from audio. We went to the last 2 episodes, which were video, but they were kind of done on a Zoom call because of the situation we were in, and we've now sort of met
our own sort of makeshift home studio here. Yeah. And we were trying to do some projection on the wall here, but it wasn't quite working out because I'm sitting right in front of the projector. So apologies for that. But instead of that, we have this lovely image of Yoon Yo-jung, the Korean actress who won an Oscar this year.
Yeah, and of course a display of our business cards and some laptop and things. But the reason I was mentioning that was because we were trying to... This episode is about film, Korean film, but we've got a couple more things just to mention that happened this week. What was the other thing? Oh, of course, the Sewol. If anyone knows about Sewol, which is the ferry that sank in 2014.
Yeah, terrible disaster.
Yeah, Korea. The families are still mourning, or there's lots of answers needed. But not only that, I've been doing this for 7 years. I've mentioned it before on the podcast, I believe, and that was our first time last week to get outside and actually be sort of showing our respects to the families, and we. Ironically enough, it might be, well, not the last time, but the last time a couple of people that we know very well who set this up 7 years ago who will be taking part. Next time, we hope it will be, well, it could be in Charing Cross where it used to be. Yeah. We've been doing Zoom calls, or myself has. I think Tim might have joined in one. I'm not sure now. But that was one thing we did. What was the other thing? Oh, we've mentioned the restaurant. Oh, the tea room.
Briefly, we've mentioned a couple times earlier that there is a new tea room in New Malden on the high street. Yeah. It's called, is it the Antique Tea Room?
Well, it's funny because it's got the name Tea Room, so you'd think that's the name of it, but they seem to be saying Antique Tea Room. But the weird thing is I did wonder as well whether they meant that, but also they've got an antique element upstairs, and what I mean is they've got a shop that's run by a Korean. Who did they say it's the same owner?
Yeah, yes, it's a Korean lady who runs both the cafe and she obviously has a deep love for antiques, but she's apparently in Korea at the moment. But the shop is still open if anyone wants to visit there on the upstairs. First floor,
and we've mentioned this very briefly before. We're hoping to go there. We will be going there with Hanguk Hapa, who's someone we've had as a guest. If you've listened to a 2-part interview we had, but we are. So that was interesting. We went back in there.
Mentioning all the time, so everyone's gonna know who we know. Sooner or later. Yeah,
that's right. So I think that's pretty much it. If they remember anything else, then we'll come back to it, I guess. But shall we move into the main section, Tim?
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed last week's episode. We spoke about 3 main subjects. Yeah. One was Mind in Kingston. That was the interview that we did with them on the Kingston Korea Festival. Yeah. And that's actually on YouTube. I spent a lot of time editing that video, but of course if you're listening to this in audio, then you can carry on listening to audio, but if you want to go to our YouTube channel, then that's fine as well. That was one thing we spoke about. There was also Squid Game. Yes. And there was also the London Korean Film Festival. Now what we only set it up last week. We only really sort of started to go over what this year's festival has in store for us. But what we want to talk about this week is a bit more of that, but also the films that are showing, and a couple that we've seen, or a couple that Tim's seen. I've seen one of them. Right. Because this is dedicated to Korean film, there's actually there's actually 2 kind of things we're talking about mainly. Yeah. So London Korean Film Festival is one, and the other one mainly
Mubi
is
UK?
Mubi UK. But shall we talk about the films that we've got access to a couple of films?
Why don't we just briefly mention what's on Mubi UK first, because they have like a series of films on there which are related to South Korean cinema or South Korean cinema, basically mostly independent films, correct? good films. I've seen 3 of them so far. They're all really good. Yeah. So I recommend them all highly. If you go on to Mubi.com, especially if you're in the UK. I'm not sure about other countries, but hopefully other countries will also have at least some of these films. But for example, one of the films is The Bacchus Lady, and that's also playing at the London Korean Film Festival. So you can either choose to watch it online, streaming, or you can see it in person at the festival. Either way you do it, it's highly recommended. Although I should say it's a bit of a hard watch. I mean, there are some depressing themes within it.
But I think it's I mean, it is real, you know, or at least it's real, you know. It's depressing in many ways, but I mean, it's not. It's a good film.
Yes. And Yoon Jung, of course, is the main star of the film.
And she's the main star of, if you like, of this year's London Korean Film Festival, because the focus or the retrospective is of her career. So
and that's why we have this image of her, which is from the website for the London Korean Film Festival. So koreanfilm.co.uk. And so if you go to that website, you can find their whole schedule and everything on there, including the Yoon Jung retrospective.
And for any audio listeners, again, Tim's pointing to a giant screen we've got next to us with her face and a bit of the London Korean Film Festival website. We've no expense spared in this this episode. But the other 2 films, which are on Mubi, there's 6 altogether, but only 3 are on there, as Tim just kindly explained. But the other 2 are really good. One is Moving On. That got lots of awards. It was really great. I've got it's actually a review on my website, minimovie.com. And there's also a review of the next film, the other film, which was Lucky Chansil. And
that's another good one,
That's actually by a woman who used to work with Hong Sang-soo. And so she's someone that used to work with Hong Sang-soo. And there's almost some sort of...
it feels like it's a bit autobiographical, maybe. Like she took some elements of her real life with Hong Sang-soo and then made it into her own vision,
Yeah, exactly. And again, I did a review of that last year, which is on my minimovie.com website. A little bit of a plug there. So that was it about Mubi. But I'm really looking forward to the other 3 films because I think I've seen all those 3 already. That was my second time at least. But these other ones I can't remember if I've seen. By the way, Bacchus Lady, that Tim mentioned is also by Lee Jae-yong, and he's done such a very different kind of film.
He's an interesting character. I mean, like, you never know what he's going to come out with next, and so it's kind of hard to tell like what his style is exactly, but he usually comes up with something interesting at least.
I liked his I've liked a few of his films. He's done docu stuff as well, but he did Dasepo Naughty Girls, and it was I think of course it wasn't his original idea, but what he did with it was very sort of musical
very
and
unique. Very unique,
very colourful and that was many years ago now. But so shall we move on to the LKFF itself? We've hinted at it a few times already.
Apologies for any sirens in the background while we're speaking.
It's all right. We'll just blame it on being Halloween, and there's probably some massacres that have been imitated, or there's probably some. No, I just mean someone's perhaps been mistaken for a real incident.
Yeah, hopefully no like Squid Games actually going on right now.
And hopefully that's not due to a coronavirus out there either. So let's talk about the first film that we've seen, because we've actually had access to sort of a handful of films from the festival. And this particular, the 2 that we're going to talk about, or Tim will talk about one mostly because he's seen that one. But we're going to just share, sort of compare notes first about one of them.
Aloners, or in Korean, I believe it's 혼자 사는 사람들.
Okay, I was going to say that. Well, I wasn't really good. Tim was
better.
In
front of me, but I believe that's the correct title. So it's basically about people who live alone in Seoul, but specifically one woman, right? I mean, I guess it's more than one, but I mean,
it could be about a lot of the characters, in my opinion. So we don't want to give you spoilers away, because when I watched it, I was thinking, who is the aloner? Does it matter?
Right.
And we don't want to give it away now, but it could be about the girl that you see first, but it could also be, like Tim just said, about a range of characters. But we're just trying to be spoiler free here.
I also recommend that one. But again, it does deal with some sort of I don't want to keep saying depressing topics, but they are sort of social issues in a way. The loneliness that people live that people experience living in a big city, but not just Seoul or anywhere.
Yeah.
But more specifically, this woman seems to be going through some issues of not trauma, but
well, it's not clear. Well, it's not clear at first, of course. It is clear later on. But I think I did. By the way, myself and Tim, we haven't actually shared this yet. Our love, whether we like or not this film. We've literally we viewed it separately, and this is the first time we're speaking about it. But I have to say, I love the film.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was really good, and it may have hit you more due to recent events. I won't get into that, but. I mean, I definitely got something out of it, and I think the way that it was shot was quite unique in a way. Just the way they sort of focused on the characters, and the framing was kind of like very close up. Yeah, and it sort of made you wonder, like, okay, what is something going to happen, or do you know what I mean? Like,
a little bit. I mean, there was bits where they show
suspenseful, but it's sort of like makes you wonder where is this story going, kind of thing.
I guess the framing is like that, and also there was some other bits I just want to mention that I picked up, and I'm sure you did as well. But there's a character that's introduced. The main character works somewhere. Again, I'm trying to keep it spoiler free as I do normally, and she's been kind of coerced into training someone up, and that character is actually quite funny in their own little way, but also very real about what youngsters are like, and also new jobs are like, and also I would say what new roles are like getting a new job in Korea. Because I noticed something in the film where it was a kind of an office job, let's just say that office job, call center, but I noticed that when they were sort of telling off in the office, everyone was kind of sort of one or two people were named and shamed, and that wouldn't really happen in this country. It does happen. It does happen. I've worked it
directly in front of other co-workers or something.
It has happened before. I've worked in offices and stuff like that before, and it has happened. But I hear mixed things from my friends in Korea, and I'm sure you have. Some people say it is quite bad, and other friends of mine said no, that's rubbish. It's fine. So I'm not sure if they've just got used to the idea. But it's not. This is not finger pointing at Korea. I just spotted it as a there's a lot of pressure. Even the woman I'm talking about, the main character. She didn't want to do this training, and she was kind of pressured into it. Even that in itself was very kind of, I don't know what the word is.
Yeah, and it was interesting because after that, like, her boss was complaining to this woman, "Oh, you're not training her properly. She's gonna quit if you keep acting that way." Yeah. But then the woman who was training the other woman said, "Yeah, but that's how you trained me when I came in." So it's like just repeating this cycle of people who don't really want to do this, but they're sort of forced into it, and not very happy about it.
I did wonder if she was I didn't think she was going to say exactly that. Again, we're trying to be spoiler free here, but it's and I liked, again, something very Korean is the balcony shots. How many Korean films have you seen that've got a balcony? I know that near where I live there's a balcony, but I mean the brick balconies, of course, that's in Korea. But there's so many films. I mean, I remember what's that film which did with House of Hummingbird? That was, I remember, a massive, great shot of those.
Or Bong Joon-ho's like Barking Dogs Never Bite, and I mean, there's a lot of those. I think they want to emphasize how isolating these big, huge like apartment buildings are, and maybe you'll see your neighbor a little bit, but you won't really talk to them, or you don't really know who they are. So it's like, kind of makes you feel cold and separated from other people,
but it was a really good film. I could talk a long time about it, I think, but I mean, it's just something that really not resonated with me, but it really, it touched me, and not because of the subject matter, but the way it was shot. It may drift into unknown, not paranormal, but sort of unknown stuff, and it's sometimes a shame that a film does do that, because it could have told a story in a different way, but it was completely legitimate. But also because I've just made a short film, and that's another thing that happened this last few days. It's been selected for a festival in Korea, so I'm quite chuffed about that. I'm really happy, because it's a Korean related film, sort of a 30-minute film. but it's I want it to appeal to Koreans because of the subject matter. But the reason I'm saying this is because in the film there is some CCTV.
CCTV, right?
And it's quite important for the story and for her family.
Television.
Yeah, closed circuit.
Not Chinese communist television.
Oh yeah, I never thought about calling that. Oh, anyone who's listening to this and not watching us on YouTube, we just had a bit of a power issue with our monitor.
Not a blackout. We're not that poor, but yeah.
No, nothing wrong with being poor. Obviously, let's not go down that route. But I was just saying to Tim earlier that when I watched Aloners and he had watched it separately, I didn't want to. I really loved it, and I wanted to save it to the show, to this episode, to actually say how much to actually compare notes. So this was quite a surprise. I thought Tim might like it, but you never know. The other film, which is called Awoke. Yeah. That's it, thanks. I almost had time to watch that, but I chose not to. And part of the reason for it was obviously it's going to be I think it's quite a downbeat film. Yeah. But it was also because I had a lot to think about with Aloners, and I didn't want to come to this. I know Tim's watched them over a couple of days, but I just was wrapped up in that one. I didn't want to sort of forget what I learned about that. But
sometimes you need time to absorb and reflect on what you've just seen, right? Yeah. Yeah,
and we will. By the way, we'll also mention when these are actually showing at the LKFF. Well, I mean, you can go to koreanfilm.co.uk and find out when they are. But these two films were within the first couple of days of the festival, aren't they? I think.
One of them is Aloners. The other one is, I believe, on the 13th. But we'll probably put that in the description or somewhere in the comments or something.
Yeah. So because Tim has seen the other one, Awoke, because I obviously wasn't awake enough to watch it.
I forgot the Korean title for that one. Sorry, but it's
right, I'll let you off.
It's about a disabled person, a person who was in a car accident, I believe, and they were seriously injured, and so they were unable to use one of their arms properly, and they were not able to walk properly. So basically the whole movie is it's kind of a social issue movie as well. It may be more so than Aloners, in that it tries to say that it's not so easy for disabled people in Korea to get the support and the help that they really need and deserve. Yeah. Especially for this person, this individual, and it may even be based on a true story. I'll have to look into that more, but it's really well acted, and it is, as most Korean films are, even independent films, they're well shot. Yeah. They may not be like flashy, high budget things, but they get the job done and they look nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to elaborate on what Tim's just said again. I mean, we've spoken about this in the first couple of episodes of this podcast, which was like 14 episodes ago now, and we spoke about how we got into Korean cinema, or even into Korea, and one of them was the fact that obviously the way Korean cinema is in general and the genres, but also the fact that, me personally, the fact that I'm living in the UK, similar population to Korea, especially if you put the two Koreas together, but the quality for an independent film, and because of the funding, I mean, the quality is fantastic. Sometimes it's just a DSLR, sometimes, but they seem to get it spot on, even if it's just for a few 100,000 won, more or less. I don't know. But they, even if it's, of course, big budget, Bong Joon-ho and other ones, but they're going to be more pristine. But when even that actually, anyway, I'm just saying what you just said there.
It's a fair point, because I was wondering, even as I was watching it, would this film be able? Would somebody be allowed to make this kind of film in the UK, or would they get enough funding to make this kind of movie about a disabled person and just their issues, getting support, kind of being critical of the social system or whatever? Would they have enough money to do that?
Oh, enough money, yeah. But I thought you were going to say,
would it be of the same quality, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because I thought you were going to say, would we make that? Because it's actually.
I mean, maybe they did. Maybe there are people making those films here. It's just that I'm not as aware of them as in Korea.
It could be like a Ken Loach kind of film, that kind of. But also, it is unusual for Korea to be speaking about these issues, because they didn't in the past. We had films like Oasis.
Yeah, well, that's another one. I mean, the more you look into independent Korean cinema, they make films about almost every subject you can imagine. It's quite amazing, really.
But as I say, the stigma is still attached. So even for this kind of film to get out there, it's good. I mean, it's more. If we had the funding in the UK, you'd get 10 of these films to one of Korean films because there's still a stigma.
Right.
But in the UK, there would be because there would be that, but we don't have the funding. So but now Korea's getting braver with its, stigma. I don't know how many people went to see this film, or who are going to see it at the LKFF.
I'm not even sure if it's been released properly in Korea yet or not. Sure. And it may not make much money, but I'm glad that at least these films are being made and they are out there, so it's good.
Yeah. Well, that's our sort of rundown of 2 films, but we will basically leave some links in the description of whether that's YouTube or everywhere, basically Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, and can't keep up with the different platforms. And we'll leave all the links for koreanfilm.co.uk. Of course, they're on social media. It starts on the 4th. That's this Thursday.
Also around my birthday, if anyone cares to know.
So you can always email a gift. No. So we'll just move on to the last section, which is really what we normally do every week. We'll speed it up a little bit because we know we've been dragging on about Korean film.
Yeah, we hope people don't find us too boring, droning on about these various subjects. But we find them very interesting, and we could talk more if we were allowed to. And if anyone is interested in these things, and if you want longer episodes, that's something we could consider for the future. But
so let's just talk about the one thing that we were going to talk about. We pre-planned this, or at least we've pre-discussed this. There's one issue really we're talking about, which is a bit of news. It's not so much news. I mean, we've got the KBC coming off, the Kimjang Festival coming up in a few weeks' time, but there's something that Tim wanted to talk about because it's his friend, but it also involves the NoSoKoPo podcast, as well as this artist friend, sort of designer friend of his. So we'll cover that sort of now briefly. Do you want to take the mic?
Yeah, thanks again. So her name is Tae-hee, but she goes by Mari or Mari Kim on Instagram. So she runs her own little business. And now she's doing basically traditional Korean arts, like painting, and she paints certain things on wood blocks and different things, calligraphy as well. So basically she started this new business only a few months ago, really, or a few weeks ago, but it's in Seoul, but she is taking orders from the UK and other places. And if you need any help with or any questions about it, I can help you with that. But you can also go straight to her Instagram, and she has a link to her website on the Instagram as well.
For anyone listening and not watching this video, I'm just showing her Instagram account. We did mention someone on last week's show, but I've actually met Tae-hee as well. And the reason we're mentioning this one is because they're also doing something for us, which she's gonna basically paint or draw. I'm not sure exactly how she's gonna do it, but she's gonna paint sort of a new logo for us for our podcast. It may be just a shortening to NoSoKoPo, or it may be the full name. We're not quite sure yet. But anyway, we're hoping to integrate that into our show in the future, either in the promotional materials, or we may show it on display here. But anyway, we're looking forward to that because she's a really great artist, I think. She studied art in the UK in London, and she's hoping to come back again maybe next year or next year. I don't know yet. But so anyway, check out what she's up to, and hope you can support her and support us, and we would much appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, so that was it. I wasn't just scrolling through my phone bored of Tim speaking there. I was literally looking for the account of Tae-hee Kim's account, which is I'll let you. Well, well, as I say, her name's Tae-hee, but Tae-hee Kim,
which is a French.
But the handle, the handle on Instagram is Atelier, which is ATELIER _ Mary Kim, so MARIKIM. Right. Atelier _ Mary Kim. We don't expect you to remember this. We will put it in the show notes, but she's doing some good stuff, and we're excited as well as what she's going to do for us, because we've got a nice sort of thing going here. Met her, lovely person. So that's that, and we'll pretty much close the show with the usual things. Well, first of all, we just want to mention again Mind in Kingston, because we did say we'd promote what they're doing because they're doing a great job. If you don't know what we're talking about, you can go to the previous episode 13, where we speak to them in Kingston. In New Malden, at the Kingston Festival, Korean Festival. And of course Kaya, who do our music, that's from their album Korean Breeze. We've had their music on every single episode, and also Tim did, as we know from the episode before last, Tim did witness half of Kaya playing in the cafe.
Yeah, that was really nice.
And so anything else we need to remember? I'll just check my show notes.
Yep.
I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, you think? Yeah. So I think we're just going to end this show as we always do, and we hope you have a happy Halloween.
Well, it's probably over now,
by the time you see this or listen to this, it's probably over because we're.
Yeah, it's a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a happy LKFF and Mubi watching. One more.
We hope everyone goes to the festival, checks that out as well, and the Kimjong Festival will be coming up. We'll be covering that as well.
Yeah, and one more thing I've just remembered. One more thing I've just remembered is Paul Quinn, who this isn't anything we're affiliated with each other, but Paul Quinn, who runs HangulCelluloid.com, he had that talk, that live Zoom talk, and I wasn't sure if they were going to release it or upload it, but basically they have put it onto British Korean Society's YouTube channel, so I was just happy for that to be there, because I didn't, I couldn't take it all in.
If it was going to be available.
Yeah, and I couldn't take it all in at a time, because he always talked so much about Korean cinema, but it's on the British Korean Society's YouTube channel. I'm not sure.
Korean Society, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be the Anglo-Korean Society, because I used to be sort of involved with that. But that's it, and we'll just end the show with the normal stuff, and I'll let you start that off.
So, 안녕히
계세요. This is the NoSoKoPo with Jay and Tim. I am Jason Verney.
And I am Timothy Home.
In this... Right, okay, we'll keep going. It's Halloween. What?
Yeah, no.
Or so I say hello, it's Halloween.
Yeah,
that's it, sorry, yeah. Okay. Hello, it's Halloween. Or do we mean Halloween? What are you all right? Are you just laughing?
Yeah,
are you laughing in the show?
I'm trying to make it more upbeat.
Yeah, that's fine. But that's fine. Is the laughing at what we were doing? Or laughing at...
I mean, laughing together. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine then. Okay, that's what I was worried about. I thought you were, it did sound like.
It's a bit of both.
Okay. So what do you think that's right? I should say Halloween or what?
Whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah. So hello on Halloween. That's what I'll say. Yeah. Okay. Ready. Final time. Hello on Halloween. It's the Not So Korean podcast.
That's it?
Yeah, no, because then I actually thought I'd do is put the thing in there, like, or something.
The what?
I know, I was going to go on to the mask, wasn't I? Yeah, sorry. It's because I'm trying to remember too much.
You want me to do that part then?
Yeah, you do the bit about the mask, but I'll just pass this to you.
Sure.
I'll pass
I was waiting for you to...
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
No,
right. Last clap, hopefully. Hello, it's Halloween.
And this is the...
So I'm doing that, am I?
No, sorry.
No, I'll say it's the Not So Korean podcast, and then you say we have Halloween. Yes, okay.
Just say this is
it's
for the NoSoKoPo.
Yeah, hello, Halloween.
Yeah,
happy Halloween from the Not So. Yes, that's it, and then you can do the next. Okay. Final one, last one, honest.